My name is Ezekiel Khosa from the Kruger Park, as they already introduced me. Just this through collaboration, in one of our annual video workshops in 2008, during the year, one of our current organizers of this workshop brought together myself, and then Samantha, who was working for water, and as well as this condolen from SASRI. So she brought us together, and that's when we started networking the whole issue. Water letters was a bit of a problem at Orpen Dam, and SASRI came into the party to help us with the Biocontrol Agents, since they were then ready by then. As you all know, SASRI have been rearing all alien plant Biocontrol agents for so many years, working for water, and more recently for the sugar company Tongaat Hullet. So the Kruger Park also came into that particular to help us. The major project that we started in 2008 with Dr. Descondor, in June 2008, we started releasing a new autonomous avenues for water, for water letters in Orpen Dam in June 2008. In August, same year, we started in the Sabie River in Lower Sabie, south of the Kruger National Park. And then in October 2008, we started in Makasspruit and Engelhardt. That is in the central of the Kruger National Park, or I mean, not in the north of Kruger National Park. I think it's somewhere here. Project continuations and expansions. These are some of the waterways that we have in the park, the locations where we released, and also the agent that have been released. As you can see, water letters have been released in the Sunset Dam, in Lower Sabie, Skukuza itself, there's the main camp in the Kruger, low level bridge, as well as the Kruger River. Diagonal pens in the final part of the Kruger National Park. Orpen Dam in Japan section, just after Skukuza, the southern part of the Kruger. Makasspruit, I mean, for water hyacinth, for water hyacinth, Eichornia were also released in Makasspruit and also in Tongaat Dam, also in the part of the Sabie, just on the north of the Kruger Park. Water letters on Sunset Dam in September 2010. You all know by now the story of the Sunset Dam. That was the most of our journals, because we had a big success in terms of Biocontrol Agents in the Sunset Dam for so many years. I think almost after 10 years of success in Sunset Dam, while we were doing our monitoring, we came across some water letter seedlings around the edge of the dam. In our regular monitoring part. Quite interesting stuff. We came to realize that most of the water letters were having new autonomous feeding damage. So we said to ourselves, it doesn't pose any danger of spreading, because it had a lot of damage on them. And I can guarantee you now, after September 2010, the water letters on the edge of the Sunset Dam just disappeared up to date. So the focus of this talk today is on the successes and the 10 factor, the complicating factors. That is, in this case, we're talking about the drought and floods that we had in the Kruger Park. Drought in terms of water drying out in one of our monitoring sites. talking about also the long-term sustainability, as well as the issue of considering integrating control measures. Successes and time factor of new autonomous on-water reduction from Sabie River in Lower Sabie, in the southern part of the Kruger Park. For background, in 2008, this is how the site looked like, and 6,000 new autonomous was subsequently released. In October 2008, that's the same year, that's how the site looked like. A year later, it was still clear. In September 2010, boom. Then back to 100% car. And we released 5,000 new autonomous from Dennis and the team. Yeah, and then that was it with the Sabie River. And unfortunately, we lost some data from after 2010 September because of backlash. I think there's just his laptop that was stolen in his vehicle. So most of the data from the after September 2010 we lost, but we will talk about the Sabie River as the slides go on. Complicating factors, talking about drought in this case, no autonomous on-water data set Orpen Dam. In June 2008, this is how the site looked like. And 10,000 new autonomous were released. These things keeps catching me. In October 2008, the drought I'm talking about came. The dam dried out, ran out of water. And what happens? There were 10,000 agents went down the drain. 2009, in January 2009, the dam was refilled with some rain that we received during November, December. And there were some, as you can see, the water letters came there. And I think a finger error followed me here. It should be 2,000 instead of 20,000 if I recall. It should be 2,000. Yeah. They were released in June. And then in October 2009, the same year, the dam dried out again. So these agents were also lost. In January 2010, after doing some rain again in November, December, this is how the dam looked like. And then in June 2010, I think we even received some rain after January. And then the water level rised as well. And there was 100% cover again of the dam. 6,700 agents were subsequently released to catch up with the population, with the water agents population. And then in September 2010, the same thing happened again. Water was clearing water was clearing, as you can see here. But then white clearing, drought was going to take its toll as well. But in late January 2012 and 2013, all sites were flooded in the park because we had some flood in 2012, in January 2012, we also had some floods this year in January 2013. So all our sites were flooded, and whatever was in our site was just washed away. Plants, agents, and everything just washed away. So what happened then on the Sabie River? Water letters. Let's see what happened. As we have seen in 2010, we released 5,000. In September 2010, 5,000 new hydrons were subtracted or released. And then after the release of the 5,000, what happened is because remember I said we lost some data, and then in 2012, in January 2012, we had some flood and everything was washed out, but we continued monitoring from January 2012 until December last year. We didn't come across any water meters. In 2013, January 2013, just before the flood, I think on the second week of January, we went back for monitoring. Still there was no sign of any water letters coming back. Immediately after the monitoring, another flood came back again and washed everything out. If you look at this picture, it says April 2013, we went back again for monitoring. Still there was no sign of any water letters. So I can confirm to you to say we didn't get or didn't observe any water letters plan for the past 16 months in the Sabie River. I'm not so sure if the seedbed has been exhausted or what. I cannot confirm that, but all I can say, the flood also played a major role in flushing out the seedbed and also helping us to clear the water letters in the Sabie River, since we didn't have any sighting of water letters in the Sabie River for the past 16 months. And Orpen Dam water letters, September 2010, as you can see, but the dam was dry again. January 2012, the water was clear. Then January 2013, this was just before the January 2013 flood. We went there and we spotted some seedlings on the edge of the dam. And then there was flood. Everything was washed away. And then in April, we went there again. We spotted the same thing. Some new seedlings were coming back again, as you can see here. Okay, and then complicating factors for flood of near Eichornia on water hyacinth in Makazi Spray. October 2008, when the project started, 12,800 of near Eichornia were released, and also 30,000 mirrors, aquatic were also were released in Makazi Spray. October 2009, these are how the spread looked like, starting to clear, but not to a complete, and 5,600 new Eichornia and also 1,400 agricultural tassels were subsequently released. June 2010, this is how the spread looked like. September 2010, then there was a gap of that just data, and then in January 2013, or before, let me say before January 2013, and then in I think in October 2012, because of the situation, there was an aerial spraying that was applied by Daniel Tredom. I think she's amongst us here, and the arrow there shows some of the plants, some of the impact that was done by the aerial spray by Daniel Tredom and the crew. And then in January 2013, we went there. The situation was just like this. That was just before the flood. Oh, that's just before the January 2013 flood. And same time, we wanted to release 10,000 new container. Okay, in 10,000 new container were released in August and September 2011. And it, sorry? And if you look at the cycle, at the cycle there, in April 2013, you can see the spray was clear, but then there were some plants, I think, that were trapped, and also some seedlings on the edge of the spray, but not deep in the water, just on the edge of the dam, of the spray. And quite interesting, we started observing also some of the indigenous vegetation coming back to Pistia. This side is downstream. This is the downstream of the same McCarthy spray, because we were releasing, I think, in two sites in the very same spray, just to fast track the process. October 2008, this is how the site looked like. October 2009, there was some clearance. June 2010, this is how it looked like. September 2010, there was some clear, but also some places starting to come back again. And then that gap of lost data. And then we went there in January 2013. That's how it looked like when we went there just before the flood. And then went there in April 2013. Also, we came across some seedlings on the edge of the spray. Coming to long-term sustainability, all what we're saying here is, since we started our release in 2008, we managed to release, but when we went there now in 2013, even though the flood washed everything out to the east, all the plants that we found, the seedlings that we came across during our monitoring, were having very severe damage on them. So we are saying it is very important that you keep regular monitoring of both the water letters and water seedlings. Since when we did the monitoring, we came to observe those severe damages on them, irrespective of us being not releasing at that particular time. These are some of the plants that we found this year being trapped. And when you look at them, we came across some very severe damages on them. Meanwhile, almost all the plants and some of the agents were already washed away. And when you, so by so doing, we felt that it is of vital importance for us to start considering integrated control to take its toll as well, because the way the current conditions or the situation of our site now is that most of the seedlings are just on the verge, and what we need to do now, we need to deploy integrated control, like now bringing the team to do manual clearing, using maybe boats, just to scope all these plants that are on the edge. And I can guarantee you we've already started doing that. In the past week, in the past 2 weeks, the team was the past just 2 weeks, the team completed the manual clearing in the Orpen Dam, and last week they were in the Sabie River. They were already done there, considering the manual clearing. Also, we felt that it is of vital importance to apply pesticide spot spraying if it needs be, so that in order to avoid waiting quite a long time to say maybe Biocontrol will do in maybe 1 or 2 single individuals or plants that are found. So if you come across few plants, then it's better if you can't remove the manual, then we'll apply spot spraying. Control monitoring is vitally important. As I've said, we need to consider all control options when monitoring shows any seedlings grow. That is very important. In conclusion, we are saying mature control is a long-term process that we are considering in the Kruger Park. Although it is governed by weather conditions, and as biological control takes hold, it becomes cheaper because of its sustainability. You don't have to keep on releasing. The only thing the most important thing that you normally do is just you go on to monitoring, apply mechanical control for seedlings that come on the edge of the site, and that makes work much easier. Regular monitoring of site will allow early detection of infestations, which can be hand cleared if necessary. Good, because we already started doing that. And once established in aquatic system, it is able to recover from severe flooding. However, in dry conditions, aquatic agents die out because most of them die out. But with mass rearing, this can be reintroduced as soon as conditions become suitable for them. We're saying the use of mass rearing biocontrol agents has provided a silver lining and rays of hope for sustained integrated control of aquatic and invasive weeds in the Kruger Park. And my acknowledgements to SASRI for the weed biocontrol and SASRI weed biocontrol team for providing us with the agents, as you've seen the numbers, and also the National Resource Management Working for Water for providing the funds to SASRI to keep on serving the agents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ezekiel, for your talk. Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for only a few questions. We've been very lenient with time, but we have a bit of time to take questions.
Okay. Your presentation was interesting. Just want to understand 2 questions. The first one regarding Sabie River. Yes, you had success on the biocontrol releases. Sometime then come back again in terms of the weed. Have you ever maybe considered to start liaising with the other stakeholders in terms of the upper stream outside the Kruger Park to find out what is the situation? And maybe on other streams also, because most of them, they are flowing from the outside the park and then flow through the park, to start checking what is the problem for your future planning because we will keep on clearing using agents, but again, there is also further infestation. Then my last comment is regarding I see you showed photos, sometimes the dams dry out, again when it's filled with water, then the waste comes again. Have you started maybe to determine the seeds that grow? Are they maybe from the seeds that were lying down on the ground during the dry season? Or maybe there are also new infestation from upstream? So just want to get the understanding. And also when you conclude, you indicated that biocontrol is doing well. But again, you consider using manual, which is fine. But at the same time, you also mentioned the herbicide control. So to me, that means then you complement biocontrol is doing well, but at the same time, when you start talking about herbicide, is something else. So I don't know if there can be any contradiction, or maybe that will be totally on the other system where you never released biocontrol agents. Thank you.
Okay. Your first question was based on whether I've checked with other stakeholders in terms of infestation in the Sabie River. We quite interesting in terms of the Sabie River. There are no water letters that we found outside the Kruger Park, except the water letter that we have in the Kruger Park. So, and also it's only in the Lower Sabie, which is kilometers away from. I mean, it started only from Skukuza up until to the Lower Sabie River. So we don't have anybody to contact in terms of that. Your second question was based on the Orpen Dam. The seeds that, the seedlings are coming up from the seeds definitely show up there. It's not infestation from the other side. And then your last comment based on the use of the herbicides was just a suggestion to say, look, you can do spot spraying to that particular plant if need be, just to make sure that you control that individual plant, not to grow up. If you can't make it in terms of manual control, because sometimes there are errors that you cannot treat because of some other factors. Like sometimes you can't send people to go in there because, like, the Kruger Park is full of people and products. You can't, so you have to consider a lot of things. So by herbicide spraying, if it's possible and it's not life-threatening, then we'll have to consider that. So I'm not so sure if there is contradiction, but maybe there was a answer.
Okay, I'll allow just one question, then I think we should just keep the discussion going maybe during teas and lunch, but we can only just allow one question.
First, congratulate you on the biocontrol. That's fantastic. Well done. But I would reiterate your own point about the management. That as far as I'm concerned, if we think of the water hyacinth, you actually have to manage the plant. And one of the ways I would suggest you manage the plant is not to eliminate it. So following up with herbicide to clear out all the adult plants means that you will clear out all the adult insects as well. And then you'll have to rely on an inundated release from SASRI again to restart the whole system. So I think it's an issue of thinking about the biology of the plant. It's got a 10-year seed bank, so those seeds can stay in the soil for 10 years. And think about the biology of the insect, that it needs the adult plants. And so if you take out the adult plants, you're going to lose your insect culture. So I think it's a balance that you have to strike. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the